Okay, I figured a way how to take this snap ring off. So basically I just put a block of 2x4 or whatever spare wood I have, and um, these are Harbor Freight. I think they're 8-inch clamps. So I just put it on the edge, and actually you gotta push it in more forward than you think you do, because as you twist it, it starts moving around and it starts trying to go out, and so you'll have to sorry, you'll have to push it in more, and then you'll have to muscle it to hold it in place as you turn it. And then when you get the second one on, when you turn it, it's gonna hit this, so you have to keep pushing it through and then turn it and push it back through. But alright, so I've been looking for the sprag and I couldn't find it until just now. This is the shaft for the first clutch, which is here on the bottom, and the second clutch, and that gear goes on top of it. So those connect to the top of here. So you can see it spins this way and the other way, but if you hold this gear won't spin. It won't go this way. It's only one way, so it can only spin this way. And this circlip I took off of this groove right here. Just expand the circlip, and this one actually got twisted, so I'll have to replace it. But basically, once you take that circlip off, this retaining ring right here comes off. And what you see is actually like half moon metal washers or spacers. The other one looks identical. So this looks like a splined washer here. So this lighter track, that's the wear area. So you can see that there's needle bearing here, and these, I think I already mentioned it, but these are actually I think they're fiber rings, and so you have to squeeze them together before you put them on, so that when you put them on, they'll squeeze tighter. So what I can see before taking this apart is there's a clip here and here. So it looks like there's probably 4 clips here. Yep, 4 clips. Here's what the inside looks like. So these are 3 O-rings. Looks like an oil passage. So we're gonna slide this thing off. Okay, looks like this part's smooth. Spline, and obviously the needle bearing. And you can see the track that the needle bearing wore on this surface, which I think is, it's gotta be between those two black marks, and then the lighter mark must be where it didn't ride. Okay, so this looks like it's done. So we have this needle bearing again. That's what that looks like. Some holes in here. 2 needle bearings for the shaft, which probably would have rode on this shiny part right here. And it looks like it's got some oil holes. So there's actually 1, 2, and 3. And that's all I see. Just those 3. So if I hold this, I can spin this. Doesn't go this way. Okay, so here's with the needle bearing removed. You can see that this bearing, outside there's a little groove, and that's what faced up. It probably doesn't matter, but the other side doesn't have it. And needle bearing. Looks like it's blue actually. The middle part of the bearing. It only looks blue on camera. Other one is the same. Okay, so the only thing that I see on this is either replace the whole gear, or you must have to remove this to get to the bearing inside here. And I'll look it up to see if there's a way. If not, you have to replace this whole thing. Okay, the way I showed you how to compress the return spring before, that's actually really dangerous because when I released the clamp, the spring shot through and kind of nicked the wall. So don't do what I showed you. Do it this way. It's a lot easier and safer. Basically, you're gonna get a threaded rod from Home Depot, and these things, I think they're called coupler nuts. And then get a washer, and I got a metal bar, and I drilled a hole right in the middle. You're gonna want about to your pinky to your thumb, and then a little bit extra, just in case you work on a clutch pack in the future that's bigger than this. So basically, threaded rod, washer, coupler nut, bar with a hole, and I used a cutoff wheel off my cutoff saw. It literally took like an hour just to make one cut. And this hole that I drilled, it was 3/4 inch because it's a 3/4 inch threaded rod. And this took probably like an hour to drill too. I just put some oil in it and I drilled slow. I put some pressure down on the drill, and I just kept adding oil to it. Okay, this is from a it's basically this thing. I got this from Harbor Freight, master ball joint adapter set, and it comes with all these things, and I just took that piece right there, and this one's got a hole in the side, so you're just gonna pick one that fits whatever you're trying to push down. Like for example, on this one, if you're doing this side, you would push down on this. Basically, you're pushing down on the retainer for the spring, and that's what you need to push down anyways, so you can put the circlip back on. So I did test this, and it seems to work. It pushed it down enough so that you can put that circlip in, and that's the whole point of this. So you can see it fits just barely on the retainer cap for the return spring. And then there was like a ridge, like a small ridge up here, so I got this cap to kind of bypass the ridge, so it's pushing all around the edge instead of the center part. And I put a washer here, another coupler nut, and I haven't had time to cut off all the extra thread. I just want to see if this works. And the biggest thing is trying to get this thing centered. So if you have a problem getting it centered, just rotate the spring, because the spring has, let's see, because the spring has an end, and then it spirals down, and then there's another end. Just rotate it like 180 degrees, and then try it, because what happens is as you push down, the retaining cap actually gets caught on the center part. So just keep rotating the spring until it gets close enough so it'll go past that center part, the spline. And then you might have to like put your knee on here and just kind of like muscle it so it'll go past that center part. You can buy tools online, but this actually seems a lot stronger and safer. One more note is obviously I didn't use a regular wood cutoff blade for that cutoff saw. You have to buy a special metal cutting blade. It basically turns your cutoff saw into like an angle grinder. It's got special it's like a basically just ask him for a metal cutting wheel. And then this thing, I took a punch, I marked the center, and then I used a sledgehammer and I smashed the punch down to get me a center mark. And then I used a large drill bit to start it. And then I used one of those cone titanium bits you can get at Harbor Freight for like $4. It's like gold color and it's a cone shape, and it steps it down all the way to 3/4 inch, so you'll get the hole. And then also don't forget to use some kind of grease on the threaded rod so that there's less resistance when you use your adjustable wrench on it. So from the Sonax website, you're gonna download their application chart. It's for the Honda 4 and 5 speed. And so basically how this chart works, from the way I think it works, is basically first find your car. So my vehicle is a 2002 Honda Odyssey, and so it does match up with BYBA. And then you just go across here, and so each asterisk right here has basically, it tells you what one means. So one asterisk means must determine which style of original equipment valve is equipped to determine whether to use this one or this one. So this chart is actually really confusing. Doesn't really make that much sense. But basically, if it says oversize, that means that the bore that the valve is in is worn out excessively. So you gotta pick which one you need if yours has got excessive bore wear. So oversized CPC valve kit. So this one you'd have to determine if you need it, if yours is excessive wear. This one says O-ring and plug kit, so this one you can use regardless. So you're gonna get this one anyways. So you can see this one says oversize. You have to check your bore to see if it's worn out. This one you do want. What this one does is it bypasses the exhaust lube circuit. So usually the transmission at the top, it's got that second gear oil update. So what this one does is it plugs up the exhaust lube circuit so that you don't even need that update. If you just copy this and then just search for it on Sonax, it'll give you a description of what each of these are. So these are oversize, and this one, I think I did get this one. This is the regulated pressure. I think this is a pressure regulator valve. So I think I did get this one. And then this one, you can see it says oversize. So if yours has normal wear, you would get this one. If it's got excessive wear, you would get the oversized one. TC check valve, I'm pretty sure I got this one. And TC check valve kit, I can't remember what the difference was, but I think actually, yeah, TC, I don't know if you can see, but Odyssey 2002, if you go across here, you see there's no check mark, so that means you don't need that one for this vehicle. And so this is why this chart's confusing. It's not really laid out, so it's really simple to understand. So this one you wouldn't get for the 2002 Odyssey. You would get this one, which I think I did get. And then this says, let's see. I don't even think these are needed either. Let's see. 2002. Okay, so one of them is needed. It's got a check mark here. You see there's a check mark for that one too. So you go back up, it says you don't need this one. And it says you might need this one. So I think I checked this one out and I didn't need it for whatever reason, or I just didn't want it. This one has a check, but actually this is the dual solenoid, the dual linear solenoid, and usually you're not gonna get this one unless there's something wrong with your dual solenoid. Here's everything that I got, all the parts for the transmission. This one is STO H05388. It's basically the CPC valves and the pressure regulator. So it's Superior Translab, and so basically this kit, it has these 3 CPC valves, which I'm gonna install, and then I'll have to figure out like how these springs work, because I'm not sure which spring goes for which valve. And then I think this is the pressure regulator valve. Yeah, I thought it actually came with it. Maybe it doesn't. Anyways, I'm only using the 3 CPC valves, and then I'm gonna use the Sonax pressure regulator, which is this one. So that's the part number for it. Just remember that some of these parts, you have to measure each of the bores that the valve came out of, measure to see if it's got excessive wear, and then you would get the oversized kit. So I didn't think I needed the oversized kit, so I just got the regular one. So that's what the pressure regulator valve looks like. And then this is I think this is TC check valve kit. Yeah, I can't remember. Anyways, I just remember I needed this one, so I got this one. And just if you read the descriptions, it'll explain most of it. It's still confusing even after you read it, but you'll kind of get it, hopefully. This is the end plug kit, which I might not even use all these, because I noticed that some of the end plugs in some of the valve bodies, can't remember which one, it was stuck, and I might not even bother trying to take it out, because I think what I would need to do is probably like drill a hole here and then run a bolt to it and then try to pull it out. It might be more hassle than it's worth, so I might not use all these end plugs. And then this one is a lockup shift valve, and I'm pretty sure this is the one that's blocks the oil lube circuit, and so it makes it so you don't need the that bolt with the hose in it to lubricate the second gear on top. So that makes it so I don't even need that, but I'm probably just gonna keep that thing up there anyways. If you do want to after you install that, if you do want to get rid of the update, you basically have to buy the it's if you look at the diagram, you'll see it, but it eliminates the connection, the hose connection to the pipe. So you have to buy that pipe, and it's like $20. So basically, that's my strategy is to put these parts in. So it's basically 16K and end plugs, pressure regulator valve, 04K, and I forgot what this was for. I remember I don't even need this, but they say that just in case in the future it might get stuck, so you might as well just have this. So I'm gonna put this one in. And I thought this one did have pressure. Hey, wait a minute, here it is. Okay, so here's the pressure regulator valve. And I'm not gonna use that. I'm gonna use the Sonax one. Whichever one it was, can't remember. I think it was this one. No. It's this one. So I'm gonna use the Sonax pressure regulator valve instead of the one that comes with this. Only because I've heard more about Sonax. I'm just gonna use their CPC valves here. Alright, I'm gonna replace these case bearings. So for this big one, the case bearing for this one is this part number. So that's what the new part looks like. And I sprayed that that acid cleaner, so that's why some of this is rusted. So you can see that there's a groove for the snap ring, and it's gonna matter which side you install this on. So for this one, you can tell that the snap ring goes on the bottom, not the top. And for this one, it's gonna be this part, which is you won't be able to see the part number there, but looks like the part number is 91002 RKE, and the number looks like it's I think it says 005. It looks like it says 005, and you can double check by just pulling up the diagram for whatever transmission you have, whether it's the 4-speed or in this case it's the 5-speed. And this one right here is gonna be this part number. Okay, the first thing that we're gonna do to get the snap ring out is if this snap ring is towards an end and you want to center it, you can just move it. Just like that. And then it looks like to get that snap ring out, you're just gonna spread it out. And then once you spread it out, you should be able to lift this up. get on a video, but basically I use these instead, and I just spread out the snap ring like that, and then I pulled up on it from the middle, and it's pretty tight fit for some reason. I don't see any rust, so it must be a really tight fit. Okay, you can see the inside here, and it looks like it's kind of scored up, but it's actually smooth. And here's the ring. And then I would probably just use brake cleaner and clean all this metal out, because it looks like there's some metal shavings here, or it could just be dirt. Alright, this is how I'm taking off the gasket material. I'm using a straight razor blade, and I'm dipping it in transmission fluid. And then basically I'm just using the oil to cut the friction down. It's a lot easier with two hands, obviously. And actually, it might help if it actually might also help if you use a heat gun to heat it up. So that's something that you can try. Alright, so if I replace this one, and I notice that this thing doesn't sit flush, it's up a little bit. Next I'm going to replace this one. And also I noticed that this one has a little bit of play on it. And actually it even spins. So I don't know if that's normal, but it doesn't seem really excessive. It might be like that by design. And notice that it stops here. It doesn't want to spin anymore. And it stops there too, so this slop right here might be by design. I'm not sure, but I can't see that it's obviously abnormal, so I'm going to leave it the way it is. So I'm going to expand this. Alright, this one's being stubborn. I may have to punch it out from the other side. I'm going to try to do this one. For some reason this one's being stubborn too. I'm going to try to punch these out from the other side. Alright, I'm going to try to hit it out to this side.